Thérèse Dechade Kapangala was born on August 28, 1993 in Kisangani in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. She was the oldest of 6 children in a loving Catholic family and grew up in the neighborhood of Kitambo. From an early age, the faith was not something she practiced on Sunday. It became the center of her daily life. She was deeply involved in a parish and joyfully served as a member of the church choir and the Legion of Mary. Among all the places she loved, one held a special place in her heart, the Marian Grotto at the St. Francis de Sales parish. There she found peace in the presence of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Whenever Therese had free time, she would quietly make her way to the grotto to pray the Holy Rosary. She never rushed away after finishing. Instead, she lovingly cared for the shrine, lighting candles, arranging flowers, and making sure everything remained beautiful as an offering to Our Lady. Those who regularly saw her there noticed her deep devotion and eventually began calling her simply Mary. Therese was baptized at St. Jean-Marie Musée Parish in Kinshasa. As her faith matured, she felt drawn to religious life. Inspired by the example of Saint Mother Teresa, she first hoped to join the missionaries of charity. Later, through prayer and discernment, she chose instead to pursue a vocation with the Sisters of the Holy Family in Bergamo, believing that this was where the Lord was leading her. Then came the day that would forever change her life. On Sunday, January the 21st, Therese joined fellow Catholics at the St. Francis de Sales parish during a peaceful march calling for free and fair elections. At that time, the Catholic Church had become one of the strongest voices encouraging a peaceful and democratic future for the nation after efforts to negotiate a constitutional transition had failed and President Joseph Kabila remained in office beyond the constitutional limit for his presidency. That morning, her maternal uncle, Father Joseph Musumbao, who taught at the major seminary in Kintambo, had been asked to celebrate the early morning mass and accompany the faithful during the peaceful demonstration. Family members begged him not to join the march because the violence could break out. Therese shared those same concerns. Out of love for her uncle, she decided to accompany him, hoping she could remain close to him and watch over him if danger came. It was a quiet act of love that no one realized would become a final earthly journey. As the peaceful demonstration unfolded, security forces violently moved against the unarmed faithful. Tear gas filled the air and gunfire echoed across the parish grounds. Panic spread as men, women, and children ran in every direction, desperately searching for safety inside the church. Yet even in that terrifying moment, Therese was not thinking about herself. She noticed a young girl whose eyes had been burned by tear gas. Instead of fleeing, Therese stopped to help her. Using margarine, a simple remedy commonly used to reduce the effects of tear gas, she gently wiped the child's face, comforting her while chaos surrounded them. As they approached the church entrance, armed officers rushed towards the fleeing crowd. According to eyewitnesses, one officer focused his weapon directly on Therese while many others were nearby. Without hesitation, she wrapped her body around the little girl, using herself as a shield. 4 bullets struck the young Catholic woman. A doctor who happened to be nearby rushed to save her, but despite every effort, Therese died from her wounds at just 24 years of age. In her final moments, the young woman, who had spent much of her life praying before the Blessed Virgin Mary, fulfilled the words of Christ in a profound way. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for her friends. Whether serving a family, caring for a parish, or giving her life to protect a child, Therese consistently chose selfless love over self-interest. News of her death quickly spread throughout the country. She became a powerful symbol of the Catholic demonstrations and the suffering endured by the faithful during the violence of January the 21st. Her sacrifice touched countless hearts and inspired many to reflect on the cost of living the gospel with courage. On February the 9th, thousands gathered for her funeral, with nearly 2,500 people coming together to honor her life and mourn her passing. Many compared her witness to that of Blessed Alphonsine Anwarite Negapeta, the Congolese religious sister who gave her life during the Simba Rebellion in 1964, seeing in both women the same spirit of faith, purity, and courageous love. As time passed, more and more people began sharing stories of Therese's quiet holiness. Friends, relatives, and fellow parishioners spoke of a life of prayer, humility, charity, and joyful service. Encouraged by these testimonies and by the devotion of the local faithful, her family has expressed the hope that the Church may one day open the cause for a canonization. The life of Thérèse Dechade Kapangala reminds us that holiness is built through ordinary acts of love, daily prayer, humble service, and the complete trust in God. Her final act was not an isolated moment of courage, but the natural fruit of a life already given to Christ. May her witness inspire us to love more deeply, serve more generously, and remain faithful to Christ no matter the cost. Thérèse Dechade Kapangala, pray for us.